Hello everyone and welcome to this week's quick tip. Today I'm going to show you how to use conditional formatting in Google Sheets for RAG rating summative assessments. Conditional formatting is a tool built within Google Sheets where when the user enters a value into a cell, the colour or the appearance of the cell changes based on what is entered. This is perfect for RAG rating. For the purpose of this tutorial, I'm using a pre-made template in which to enter students' data. I'm going to begin by showing you how to change those cells. Select the first cell, in my case B3, and highlight all of the cells within the spreadsheet where you'll be entering data for a particular student. So I'm going to go right down to student 21, which in my case is row 23, and I'm going to go all the way across to column U, which is the last question in this particular Google Sheet. Once I have those cells highlighted, I'm going to navigate to my toolbar, clicking on the Format toolbar and scrolling down to Conditional Formatting. This will bring out a pop-up on the right-hand side, as you can see here. I'll double-check the range, B3 to U23 is correct, but if I have made a mistake, I can use this button here to edit that data range. In this drop-down, I want to choose what value the cell contains. So I want to say is equal to, as I'm using a numerical value, 0. So if the value entered is 0, I want the cell to turn red. So I can easily see, as a teacher, the children haven't accessed that question very well. And I'm using this fill colour here and selecting the colour that I would like. I can also change the text colour to red so it blends in and I can no longer see that as well. Done. At this stage, I can add another rule, but I'm going to show you what that now looks like by closing down that menu and entering a 0 into one of these cells. If I enter 0 and hit enter, that cell will now turn red as I've conditionally formatted it to do so. I would also like when I enter a 1 for the cell to turn green. So again, selecting the cells that I would like that rule to be applied to. In my case, U23 up to, make sure I go all the way across, B3. Selecting those cells, again, I'm going to navigate to the Format menu, scroll down to Conditional Formatting, and add another rule. For the second time, I will double check my range is correct. In this case, it is, and I will change my format rule. I'm going to scroll down to is equal to, and this time my value is 1. If I enter 1, I want the cell to turn green. I would also like the text to turn green, so I can clearly see which ones the children have and haven't been able to access, and select Done. I can clearly see my two conditionally formatting rules here, and again I'm going to double check that that has worked by selecting a cell within that range, entering 1 and selecting Enter. Perfect. I can change that cell at any time. I can remove the value and it will change it back to white, or I can enter 0 and it will change it to red, and that will work in any of the cells that I've formatted. As you can see now, I have entered data for all of my students for this particular assessment. You can see at a glance which questions the children have struggled with. Question 5, for example, might be an area of focus for my next topics learning, or potentially student 18, where they've clearly got a few gaps from question 7 to 11. I can then go back at that assessment and target student 18 for those style questions. This is a really useful tool, RAG rating, and using Google Sheets conditional formatting makes it one step easier. Thank you very much for taking the time to listen.